Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. So in today's video, I made this beautiful BUBU dress. Yeah, the inspiration was the one by the right. Yeah, so I just made mine in a short form and I added my pockets to the front instead of the back. So if this is something you're interested in, if this is something you want to know how to make, just keep watching and let's get started. Welcome back guys. So now the first thing I will do is to measure the length of my gown. So I will be using 37 inches, as I've said earlier that I'm making the short version. So after marking the 37 inches, I added extra 2 inches allowance for the hemming. So if you are sewing a long gown, you just measure your full length, like this. That is the length of your long gown. So that's what you will just do. So now the next thing I will do is to slant my shoulder. So I'll be measuring 1.5 inches at the edge of the folding. So to know this folding line, you have to measure your shoulder, that is your shoulder divided by 2. That is, let's say your shoulder is 16, shoulder divided by 2, which is 8, and the length of your sleeve where you want the BUBU to get to, so you measure it. So that's how you will know the folding you will do. That is, if you want your sleeve to be like, let's say 12 inches, that is 8 plus 12, that will be 20 inches. Now for this opening over here for the hand, so my initial armhole is 10, but I added extra 4 inches to it, that is 14. So 14 divided by 2, that's 7, and I added 1 inch seam allowance and 1 inch joining allowance at the upper part here. So now I'm measuring my half length at that part. Then at the area of my half length, I'll measure my waist. So at the area over there, I'll measure my waist. Then I will add extra 2 inches for it to be free, and extra 1 inches for the seam allowance. So now I will measure my hip line, that is the hip length over there. So I'll measure my hip measurement, that is my hip measurement divided by 4. Then I will add the extra 2 inches and the 1 inch seam allowance, that's 3. That's why I added 3 over there. Then I will connect all the lines together. I will measure the same hip measurements at the lower part of my dress. So that's what I'll just be transferring down there. So for this part here, I noticed that it was too curvy for me, so I added ½ inch to the waist area. So whatsoever I measured at my hip area, I'll measure it at the end of my gown. So if you are sewing a long gown too, you do the same, but the only difference is that you have a slit by the side so that you can walk easily. Or you can add more freeness, like the 3 inches I added, you can add like 4 inches if you don't want to put slits, so that the gown can be free at the lower part. So the next thing I will do now is to just cut out my fabric, to cut what I've measured out. So now let me explain again. So my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I added additional 5 inches. I don't want it to be long, that's why I use 5 inches. So you can use 12, you can use more in case. So now what I'll be doing next is to draft my neckline. So I'll be cutting the front and the back neckline together. That is, I'll be using the back neckline to cut the front. So I will now remove the one of it and measure the front neckline. So that's how I'm cutting the two together. So I'll be cutting the small neckline, which is for the back. So I measured 3 by 1.5. So that's what I cut out over there. So I will remove one of it. So one will be for the back and the other one will be for the front. So for this other one now, I'll be cutting my front neckline. So the neckline I'll be using is 7 inches. You can do more than that if you want your V neckline to go down. So you can use it depending on how low you want your V neckline to be. So I'll just be connecting it like that, then I'll be cutting it out. So now for this black design at the front, so I folded my material. I'm using doll face, so I folded it in a way that will accommodate extra 3.5 inches over there. I don't know if you can see it at the shoulder there. So the folding will accommodate 3.5 inches over there. So that's what I did. Then I'll be drafting out my neckline on it. So I'm cutting out my neckline on it. like that. And this part I'm cutting now is the 3.5 I'm talking about. So the extra 3.5 is by that side. So that's just what I will be doing. Then I'll be removing it. Then I'll now be measuring the 3.5 all through to the end of the neckline. The 3.5, I'll just be marking it just like that. 3.5, 3.5. So when I get to the straight part of the neckline, I'm using 2.5, because you know when you open up that other side, it will turn to 5, and when I fold half inch, I will have 4. So that's why I reduce it. You know, this other part is not folded, that is for the neck. So that's just what I'm doing. So I'll measure 2.5 down to the end of the gown. Now the design is from the top to the end of the gown, so I'll just be measuring 2.5 down there. And for the neckline, I measure 3.5. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So if you don't understand, just drop a comment and I will reply you as soon as possible. So now I'm just trying to know the end of this gown so that I won't cut excess. So now after marking this design, the next thing I'll just be doing is to cut it out. So now I'll be cutting another black piece, which I'll be using for the pocket, the tip of the pocket. So I'll be marking 3.5 by 9 inches, because the pocket will be like 8 inches, and after folding, so it will reduce to 8 inches. So I'll be marking 9 inches, and the length over there is like 3.5, so it's 3.5. So I'll just be cutting it out, and you know we are doing 2 pockets, so it is 2. So now this is the design we've cut out. So I'll be folding it half inch like that. So after folding, I will have 4 inches over there, and I'll be folding the upper part too. So and I will add my stay to it. So this is my pocket, and it is 8 inches by 9.5 inches, so it is 2. So this is the tiny pieces we cut before. So this is how it will be. We just sew it to it. So this is for the sleeve, the mouth of the sleeve. So it is 18 by 5 inches. It will be folded like this, then it will be fixed to the end of the sleeve. I will add my stay to it also. All this black piece that I cut out, I'm adding stay to everything. So this is the pocket, and I will add this piece like this, then sew, and I will turn it over like this, and I will fold half inch again and sew. So that's just what I will do to that. And this is my neck design. So I've added paper stay to it, and I've folded it. So I'll just sew and I'll turn it over. So after sewing the neckline, this is what it looks like. So I've not stitched it down at the front, so I'll just go ahead and do that. So this is my pocket. I have turned it in. So the next thing to do, just to sew at the end. And you notice that I folded every angle in, so I'll just be placing it on my gown like that. So this is the front design. After fixing it, this is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to locate where my pocket will be. So from my shoulder here, I measured 18 inches. So I measured 18 inches. On that 18 inches, that's where I place my pocket. On that 18 inches downward, that is where I place the pocket. And I ensure that the pocket is not towards the side of the dress, so that whenever I'm sewing it 1 inch, it will not affect the pocket. So make sure you do not shift the pocket to the side like that. So I'll just use my pin to hold the pocket down so that it won't shake. So after holding it down, I'll just go ahead and sew. So you have to ensure that you use pin to hold the pocket down so that it won't move from the position. So ensure you pin it down properly so that it will not shake or move. So after pinning down, you just go ahead and sew. So this is the pocket after sewing. This is where it is. So now the next thing I'll be doing is to place my back bodies. So for my back bodies, for the neckline, I use bias to just turn it inside just like that. So I'll be sewing with 1/2 inch at the shoulder line there. So this is what it looks like after sewing. So after sewing, the next thing I'll be doing now is to place this band I'll be placing at the sleeve area. It is 5 inches, so I folded it into 2, that's 2.5 inches, and I added stay to it. So after sewing, I top stitch again so that it will look nice. I just top stitch on it just like that. Then the excess, because I cut excess, like I added extra inches to it, so I'll just be cutting out the excess I have there. So I'll be doing the same for the other side too. As you can see, the dress is looking really nice already. It is coming together already and it's looking very nice. So I'll just go ahead and cut the excess I have at this part too. Then after cutting the excess, I will join it by the side. I will join the gown by the side, and I'll also hem the lower part. So that's just the only thing remaining right now. So you know we use 1 inches. We added 1 inches to our measurement, so we'll be using the 1 inches to sew it at the side. Then after sewing by the side, you now hem it at the lower part. So after doing everything, this is what the gown look like, and this is looking really nice. And the only thing left now is just to add my stone. So the stone is optional. I don't want stone on this my gown, so that's why I didn't add the stone to it. But if you want to add stone, you just add stone to all the black areas where you added the black material. Just add stone to it, or you can add to the main fabric anyhow you want it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.